Have you ever felt unseen? Not just overlooked in a crowd, but truly unseen. Like you're speaking, but no one is listening. Like you're reaching out, but your hand passes through the air. It's a chilling feeling, isn't it? A quiet ache that whispers doubts into the deepest parts of your heart. Once upon a time, in the radiant kingdom of Eloria, lived a princess named Aline. She possessed a crown of shimmering gold, gowns woven with starlight, and a lineage steeped in nobility. And yet she felt utterly, profoundly invisible. Imagine a grand hall, filled with laughter and music. Her parents, the king and queen, are the very heart of it all, radiating warmth and joy. "Your Highness, your new decree is truly just," someone calls out. "Your Highness, your handling of those merchants was masterful." And then a hesitant pause. "And this is our daughter," a fleeting glance. "Oh, hello, Ella." Aline's heart would clench. It wasn't malice. It wasn't even intentional. It was forgetfulness. A constant, subtle erasure. "It's ailing," she'd offer softly, her voice barely a breath. "Oh, of course. My apologies," followed by a hurried, "Isn't that right, my sweet ailing?" as if remembering her as an afterthought. She learned to anticipate the vacant stares, the missed birthdays, the conversations that flowed around her as if she weren't there. It wasn't a sudden event, but a gradual fading, a slow dimming of recognition in the eyes of those she loved most. She began to retreat, to blend into the tapestries and shadows, becoming a ghost in her own life. Do you think a spirit can truly break? A spirit that is constantly ignored, constantly dismissed. It can. It does. Then, one day, a figure emerged from the castle's darkened corners. A man named Malachar, cloaked in secrets and shadowed ambition. His eyes, like chips of obsidian, seemed to pierce through everything except, perhaps, the carefully constructed facades of the court. He saw her. He saw the quiet despair that clung to Aline like a shroud. "Forgive me, princess," he said, his voice a silken whisper. "I noticed you seemed troubled." "My troubles are inconsequential," Aline murmured, already anticipating his dismissal. He smiled, a slow, unsettling curve of his lips. "I disagree. A princess should never feel invisible." His words struck a chord, resonating with the ache she'd carried for so long. "No one truly sees me, do they?" she confessed, the question a fragile plea. "All my efforts, all my dreams swept aside, unnoticed." "Perhaps," Malachar said, leaning closer, his voice almost hypnotic, "if you were actually invisible, they would worry." The thought bloomed in her mind, dark and tempting. If she were truly unseen, would they finally notice her absence? Would they finally feel the weight of her silence? "Shall we test that theory?" he offered. Before she could even formulate a response, Malachar raised his hand. A swirling, inky mist enveloped her, cold and suffocating. A dizzying sensation, a feeling of dissolving. "What are you doing?" she gasped, but the words felt muffled, distant. "I'm giving you what you asked for." He watched, a cruel satisfaction in his eyes. To be unseen. Aline raced back to the grand hall, desperation clawing at her throat. "Father, mother, you won't believe what has happened." She reached for them, her hands outstretched, and passed right through them. Their laughter continued, oblivious. They were discussing a ball, a celebration, but not for her. "Darling, why did we hold this ball?" the queen asked. "Was it an anniversary?" "What do you mean?" Aline cried, her voice cracking with despair. "It's my birthday." Her parents turned, their expressions blank. Mother, father, she pleaded, tears streaming down her face. You've forgotten me. The realization hit her like a physical blow. It was Malakar's spell that had made her invisible. It was something far more profound, far more heartbreaking. He hadn't created her invisibility. He had merely revealed it. You made this happen, she stammered, turning on Malakar. He simply shrugged. I merely helped you realize a truth you already knew. You were already invisible long before my spell. He vanished, leaving Aline utterly alone in a world that no longer acknowledged her existence. Days bled into weeks. She screamed, she wept, she pleaded, but her voice was lost in the wind. She walked among them, a ghost haunting her own kingdom. She tried to find solace in her strength, but the weight of her isolation was crushing. Was she destined to fade away completely? Just when her hope was at its lowest ebb, a flicker of light appeared. A voice clear and unwavering. Well, aren't you a sight? Aline whirled around, her heart leaping with a desperate hope. Standing before her was an elderly woman, her eyes twinkling with ancient wisdom. You remember me, she whispered. The woman chuckled. Remember you. Child, I've seen everything from cranky dragons to enchanted chickens. You're not that hard to spot, even if you are invisible. Her name was Anara, a sorceress of immense power, once renowned throughout Eloria. But strangely, everyone had forgotten her too. This is all Malakar's fault, Aline said, her voice filled with anguish. Oh, we go way back, Anara replied with a sigh. He turned me invisible and erased me from everyone's memory when I tried to stop his schemes. I lost most of my powers too, except Anara held out a hand, revealing a shard of shimmering crystal. This is a piece of the Shadow Mirror, a relic of immense power. It doesn't reflect images, it reflects fears. It absorbs darkness, but also amplifies it. It's the source of Malakar's power. Shadow Mirror, Aline asked, her voice barely audible. It lies hidden in the Forest of Whispers. Take this shard. It will guide you. You can find the mirror and break the spell for both of us. But why can't you? Aline asked, a wave of despair washing over her. Anara's expression clouded. Malakar's spell anticipates my actions. He's prepared for me. But I've infused this shard with the last of my magic. It's a gamble. Aline's eyes widened with fear. What if I fail? What if no one ever sees me again? Anara's voice was firm, unwavering. Then they'll never see you for what you are truly capable of. But if you dare to believe in yourself, they just might see a princess who's more than her crown. Anara's trust ignited a spark of courage within Aline. She knew this journey would be fraught with peril, but she couldn't stand by and let darkness consume her kingdom. She set out carrying the shard, determined to reclaim her life. She traveled unnoticed through bustling marketplaces and silent forests, finally arriving at the edge of the Forest of Whispers. The air grew heavy, thick with an ancient, unsettling energy. It's just a forest, she told herself, trying to sound brave. Just trees enchanted, whispering, creepy trees. As she ventured deeper, faint giggles and whispers swirled around her, teasing and taunting. Oh, look! An invisible one. Finally, some fun. Suddenly, she was swarmed by mischievous, shimmering fairies tugging at her hair, buzzing around her head. Hey! I'm just trying to pass through, she cried, swatting at them. Pass through, she says, one of the fairies shrieked. The deeper you go, the quicker it gets, She's not going to make it, is she? Another giggled. Aline ran, dodging their playful but relentless attacks, escaping their chaotic rampage. I thought fairies were nice, she muttered, breathless. These ones are horrid. Just when she thought she'd escaped, she stumbled into a clearing surrounded by a circle of witches, their faces hidden in shadow. Fear gripped her heart. It's her, one of the witches hissed. She's the one he's after. Aline braced herself for an attack, but it never came. You shouldn't be here, another witch said, her voice surprisingly gentle. Why? Aline asked. He can't find you here, but he will, a third witch warned. Confusion replaces fear. He knows you're coming. He won't make this easy. Aline's confusion gave way to a glimmer of hope. These witches weren't her enemies. Who is he? She asked. Hold on, one of them said. You can see me. Aline stared in disbelief. Yes. I can see all of you. A spell can't hide a courageous heart, the witch said with a knowing smile, especially from those who know where to look. Aline blushed, warmed by the unexpected praise. And he is Malachar. He knows you're coming. He's already laid traps and enchantments. He'll make you doubt yourself, wander in circles unless you're careful. But not all is lost. You still have Anara's magic. Use it wisely. It may be your only way out when things get confusing. Aline thanked the witches for their warning and ventured deeper, her senses on high alert. As she walked, the trees seemed to shift and twist, and she felt a constant sensation of being watched. She took a step forward and then another, only to find herself back in the same clearing. I've been here before, she whispered, panic rising in her throat. No matter how far I walk, I always end up here. A mocking laugh echoed through the forest. Ha 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 ha. Lost again, little princess. Malachar materialized before her, his eyes gleaming with cruel amusement. You think you can find the shadow mirror? You think you can outsmart me? Aline stumbled, disoriented. I can do this. You can barely find your way through a simple forest, Malachar sneered. You can barely find your way through people's hearts. Desperate, Aline closed her eyes and focused all her energy on the shard, channeling the last vestiges of Anara's magic. Anara, please help me. The shard pulsed with light, emitting a brilliant beam that pierced through the darkness, revealing a hidden path. The enchantments crumbled, the forest parted, and before her lay a dark, murky lake, at the center of which stood the shadow. Mirror radiating an unsettling glow. I found it, Aline exclaimed, relief washing over her. The shard shattered, its magic completely exhausted. Anara, she cried, her voice filled with sorrow. Aline stepped cautiously toward the mirror, crossing the dark waters. Malachar appeared, his laughter echoing across the lake. Ha 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 ha. So the invisible little princess thinks she can outsmart me. He raised his hand, and illusions flickered to life around her. Her parents turning away, their faces cold and indifferent. Her friends laughing at her, their eyes filled with contempt. Look at them, Malachar hissed. They never cared about you. You were always just the forgotten one. Aline's heart ached, but she refused to believe it. No, that's not true, she cried, her voice trembling. Do you really think they believe in me? You're not strong enough to break this curse, Malachar taunted. I am strong enough, Aline retorted, summoning every ounce of courage she possessed. Prove it, he challenged. The mirror will only show you the truth, that you'll always be invisible. Aline closed her eyes, forcing herself to remember. The shard's light, Anara's unwavering belief, the witch's guidance, and then a memory soft and warm, her father's voice, her mother's embrace. My sweet Aline, Aline, her mother's voice filled with love. A princess who was more than her crown. I am not alone, she whispered, a newfound strength surging through her veins. I was never unseen. They do care. And I care about them. With a defiant cry, she opened her eyes, a spark of determination blazing within them. She charged toward the mirror and grabbed it, much to Malakar's shock. Now I just have to break it somehow, she muttered, searching for a weakness. Break it, Malakar scoffed. You foolish girl. For years I've turned so many invisible, he raged, unleashing a torrent of dark energy toward her. With each forgotten person, I grew more powerful. I won't let a silly, nobody princess get in my way. But Aline swiftly raised the mirror, deflecting the blast. The mirror absorbed his power, but it couldn't contain the overwhelming darkness. It began to crack, to splinter, to break. No, Malakar shrieked, his form flickering and fading. It's over. Suddenly, shimmering figures began to materialize around her, people she'd never met, faces filled with gratitude and relief. Who are they? She asked, bewildered. Oh, one of them exclaimed. I know you, and you, another said, their eyes shining with recognition. We're victims of the sorcerer's spell. You have freed us, princess. We can now go home to our own kingdoms. Thank you, Malakar's terrible spell had been undone. Aline traveled back to Eloria, accompanied by the freed spirits. As she approached the castle, she saw her parents waiting, their faces etched with worry and relief. Princess, her father cried, rushing toward her. Aline, her mother followed, tears streaming down her face. You did it. You faced your fears and won. Aline ran into their arms, burying her face in their embrace. I did I? You freed everyone, her father said, his voice choked with emotion. I knew you had it in you. Aline, her mother whispered, holding her tight. Oh, Aline. We thought we lost you forever. I was so scared, Aline confessed. I didn't know if anyone would miss me. Oh, Aline, her mother said, gently wiping away her tears. Remember, my sweet, you were always loved. Aline finally understood. It wasn't about being seen by everyone. It was about being loved by those who truly mattered. And she was. In the end, the greatest power wasn't in the shadow mirror or Anara's magic. It was the courage Aline found within herself. The darkness couldn't hold her, for she had discovered her own light. She returned to her kingdom, not as the invisible princess, but as the hero who embraced her truth and became visible once more. And she learned that sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is to simply be seen for who you truly are.